Hi, my name is Amy Mazzi, and I'm with Centurion Boats. And today I have the great pleasure of going over the 2023 Fi23 with you. This brand new Fi series boat is like nothing you've ever seen. We think the Fi stands for fearless innovation. I'm going to tell you why. It's because this boat is purpose built. It is built for a singular performance purpose, and that's making a great wave, and I'm going to tell you a lot about it. The 2023 Fi23 bow, maybe from a distance, looks similar to the Fi23 of old, but as you get up close, you'll notice that the lines of this boat have been completely redone. They're more aggressive. The bow, just as wide and accommodating, looks, in my opinion, even meaner. It looks like it makes a great surf wave. It looks like it makes a world-class wakeboard wake, because it does. And up front, we've also got docking lights that are just as powerful as the waves and wakes behind this boat. They are 4,800 lumens a side. There are 4 docking lights up front. You're never gonna lose sight of the water in front of you, even if it's dark. As we move down the side of the 2023 Fi23, you start to see more of these deliberately refined lines that are aggressive but elegant at the same time. The look of this boat is like no other, but it does have some similarities to the older Fi in that it has a lower freeboard. So the boat is not super deep. In other words, when you sit in this boat, you can still see the water from your seat. It feels like you're in a performance towboat because you are. But you've also got an exterior look that is extremely different than anything Centurion's done before. You've got this available large panel of gel coat in the core scheme. You've got 37 different gel coat colors that you can choose between, and you've also got a base color to add to that. Not to mention, this year on the Fi series, we've introduced Gator step on the exterior of the boat. So whatever Gator step flooring scheme you choose will also be present on the deck and on the exterior of the boat to tie in that interior look. You've also got the tie-in of the windshield. You've got your Centurion decals. You've actually got 3 different choices on these Centurion insignias. You've got all kinds of choices as far as the look goes, and you can make this boat all your own. As we continue down the side of the boat, you can't miss these brand new RamFill vents on the Fi23. They're created by Roswell Marine, and they are beautifully black, and they have a new insignia on them. They go with the boat so well, but they also have a new pattern on the interior and a new shape as well that really goes along with the design of the boat. Not to mention that RamFill in and of itself, the optional system we have for subfloor ballast, is amazing. On this particular boat, the RamFill system is about 2,700 pounds of water that comes into the boat in subfloor tanks in about 90 seconds. The way that that happens is through a series of 2-inch ball valves. So there's a scoop on the bottom of the boat. The boat accepts water through those open valves and fills those tanks up. This vent is just an air vent where it releases the air that was in those tanks to allow them to fill up even more quickly. 2,700 pounds later, you are making a great surf wave. I know what you're thinking. Yes, I'm still on the outside of the boat. Yes, I'm still moving towards the back, and this is only a 23-foot Centurion. However, there's a lot to talk about on the side of this boat. One of my favorite things about the new design of the Fi23 is this back top line. It's very sports car-ish to me. I love the way it looks. It looks as if this thing is making a wake even on the trailer. It looks mean. It reminds me of those big meats on the back of a dragster. It looks like this thing is meant to perform and do one thing really, really, really well, which is make a great wake, and it does. That's one of my favorite things about the design of this new boat. You've also, in this area of the boat, we've got one of our dual gas fills. I've got a fill on this side, on the driver's side or the starboard side, and then I've got another fill in the same location on the port side or the passenger side. So no matter what side my vehicle fill is on, I can always get to the fuel fill to the boat. It's convenience, and it's something that we've done for years, and we will continue to do it. The other thing you've got back here is a great little pull-out cleat for tying the boat up. But one of my other signature favorites on this boat is the new vent. We talked about the new RamFill vent. This vent on the rear, which is a fresh air vent, is similarly designed. It's made by Roswell, and it is color matched, obviously, color matched with the tower, color matched with the vents that are on the other spots in the boat, but this also has the Fi23 model designator designed into it. It just looks beautiful. It finishes out that theme of the boat, and it makes it look like it's meant to go with the rest of the boat, because it is. As we finally get around to the transom, or the back of the Fi23, we start to see even more cool stuff that we got to talk about. So back here, I've got another Roswell created element that is color matched black to match the vents, but it is specifically shaped grab handle with an inset accent that allows it to look beautiful and function great. I don't know if anybody else sometimes has trouble getting into the boat, either from a trailer or from the water, but these handles are a godsend, and I used them all summer. They're great. You're gonna love them, and they look beautiful. You've also got a lot going on the back with the shape of the Fi23 transom. And it may look like it's just shaped this way because it looks amazing, but there's actually a purpose to the shape of the transom of this boat. What this is a water knockdown. So what that means is this boat displaces a ton of water, makes those great waves and wakes. It can have as much as 5,250 pounds of ballast in it from the factory. That makes amazing waves. But what you don't want is that water to come inside the boat when your rider falls and you're going around to pick them up. So that's what this wave knockdown is for. So as that water hits the back of the transom, this particular shape knocks it down, keeps it from going into the back of the boat. So there's no chance of you taking water on from the transom, even if you were to stop abruptly when the rider falls and you have that big, nice wave going off behind you. So that wave knockdown is beautiful and purposeful at the same time. You'll also notice we've added Gator step to match your flooring choice on the interior of the boat on the transom. This is another element that allows you to tie in the design of your Fi23. You've got that toe point here for a tube or maybe a skier, something that's low. If you need to help somebody get up and out of the water easily, you've got that back here as well. And then you have an extremely intricate Gator step design on this particular boat. And where you can see it the most is on this swim step. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later when we get into this fearless innovation cut that is specific to the Fi23 and Fi25 Gator step flooring schemes. Other than that, you have a very uniquely shaped swim step, and it's got tooled in handles to help you grab to get up on the swim step, which is always a little bit challenging, especially for somebody that's my age. But you've also got this great, almost a bat wing type of design or shape to it, and it mimics the front or the bow of the boat. So everything is made to tie together in the Fi design. We did it that way because it looks beautiful, and we want you to be able to pick out an Fi from Centurion on the water anytime. So we talked about how unique and beautiful the Fi23 swim step is, but there's also a lot of unique and beautiful things underneath it. Let's check it out. So on either corner of the transom of the Fi23, you have the available QuickSurf Pro. These tabs go down opposite the surf side and dig or displace the surf side corner, which creates that curl behind the boat. And when you want to move that wave to the other side, or transfer, as a lot of people say, you can do that in about 2 seconds, and that's just with the press at the dash on the screen. It's very easy to do, and it happens that fast. So also on the back of the boat, underneath the swim step, we have the Silent Stinger exhaust, or the Silent Stinger wake plate, as we like to call it. This particular innovation from Centurion has 2 patents on it, and it does multiple things. As a wake plate, it changes the running attitude of the boat. So it allows the nose of the boat to come down, or it allows the transom of the boat to get deeper into the water and the nose to come up, depending on what position it's at. That is a wake plate. But what this also does is quiet the noise of the engine. And it does that by taking the exhaust from the engine and tumbling it through a series of baffles that are built inside this plate, and then forcing water into the back of the plate and dampening the noise of the engine. It makes a considerable difference, so much so that the noise level at the passenger seat in this boat is right about 74, 75 decibels, which is that of a kitchen dishwasher, something you can easily have a conversation over. And this boat is so quiet with this Silent Stinger exhaust that I've been in the boat, had the engine running, and had to walk to the back to make sure the engine was running because I couldn't hear it. That's how quiet it is. As we step up into the 2023 Fi23, we see a whole new world. Specifically on the back sun pad of this boat, there is nothing that's not new on the back. My storage back here, I've got an easy place to store things. I've also got the option of having a rear transom ballast bag in this area. I've got a step up here that also has access to the rear trunk, so I don't have to step on my cushions. What I do want to do is sit on these cushions, and I'll tell you why. I have an optional lean back here and a great seat to relax in. I've also got a couple cup holders. I even have access to gunnel storage that's right here. And this gunnel storage allows me to throw in flip-flops, smaller items, and I don't lose them in a larger storage area. And I've got a really nice flat area right here on which to board the boat. So if I'm pulled up next to a dock, this area is covered in Gator step, number one, so it's not slippery at all. But it's also flat. There's no angle to it as far as making it difficult for your foot to fit on it easily, so you can step into the boat from the side as well. They've thought of everything. Not only is this comfortable and accommodating, it functions beautifully. So from the swim step of the Fi23 all the way into the interior, there's a very specific pass, very easily navigable. So I've got gradual steps up. I don't have to step on my upholstery. I can even step down on this specially tooled fiberglass piece with Gator step. And I've got a specific way to get in the boat without adversely affecting any of my upholstery. It's a great way to get in, very easy, not too big a step, so anybody can board the boat this way. And as I get into the interior of this Fi23, I start to realize, wow, it does have enough room for 14 people. This is a good size 23-foot boat. So this is a very big 23-foot boat, and it accommodates, like I said, 14 people. However, it's not just about the size of this boat, it's about the level of refinement and accommodation. This upholstery pattern is beautiful, but not just because it's the same as we've done in years past and they're all beautiful. This one is pretty special. So you'll notice this is the accent one. This happens to be our olive gray hex. And this interior is a beautiful color, but you'll notice there's a bunch of extra stitching here. There's a lot of extra stitching all on this accent one throughout the interior. You can color match this stitching. There are 7 different thread color choices you have on this particular panel of the interior, which is new and exclusive to an Fi23 and Fi25 upholstery scheme right now. You also have accent elements like this backlit warrior in the rear seat. You've got these other accent panels. This particular scheme is our all hex scheme. What that means is there's a texture to all of this vinyl. And this is Spradling vinyl. It has a 17 mil top coat. It's extremely beautiful to look at, but also comfortable to sit on and very resilient, especially for water sports use. However, this particular texture adds another level of comfort because it dissipates heat better. It has more surface area, so it allows the heat to move off or cool down on the surface so it's not so hot even when you have darker colors. So it's beautiful, it's resilient, it allows you to customize the interior almost any way you would like. This thing, it has it all. Just like the rest of the Fi23, everything is in its place. Everything has a place and it looks like it goes with the thing next to it. So these cup holder side panels, they look like they're meant to go with this boat. They're not just a flat side panel that's tooled out of fiberglass and gel coated to match. It's got specific lines built into it to kind of frame up that Centurion logo. It also accepts these 8-inch Wet Sounds interior speakers, which sound amazing, as well as 4 cup holders. You've also got this easily accessible grab handle here. And these handles, remember, are made and matched by Roswell to look like they go with the boat, because they do. And they have an inset accent, so it adds another level of contrast and interest to the interior. They have not forgotten about anything in this Fi23. So the Gator step flooring scheme in this particular boat is a 3-layer, we're calling it Fearless Innovation Cut. It's a brand new look or scheme for this year, only available in the Fi23 and Fi25. You'll notice it has a lot of shapes to it. It's got a couple warriors in it, but the power behind this particular cut is the 3 layers. So I can choose between 15 different Gator step colors on each layer. So I can make this scheme, even though it's the same cut, I can make it look completely different based on my color choices. There's also a 2-layer version of this cut. You can get the standard single layer Gator, which is standard, and you can get a warrior scheme with a laser etch, and we have a new laser etch this year, but I'll tell you about that on the Fi25 because you'll actually get to see it there. And we have the Salute to Service cut. The Salute to Service cut has a series of flags cut into it. It's also 3-layer, and you can choose between those 15 different Gator step colors on each of those layers. You can make the interior flooring on your Centurion, specifically your new Fi23, exactly the way you want it. There is a shining light on this particular floor, but that is because this has the optional slide seat in it. And you'll notice the limo lighting that's mounted just under the slide seat rail. So that allows us to add extra lighting to the interior and to shine that light on the Gator step floor. So the interior on the Fi23 is extremely versatile. You can opt for the 3-position slide seat and change the seating arrangement however it works best for you. So I've got the slide seat in the 2nd position. I'm going to move it all the way to the 3rd position. That's as far forward as it can go. And you can see it creates a little bit of a lounge between the observer, driver's seat, and this area of the interior here. But I can add another level of customization to it with the optional lean back. So there are 4 different receptacles in this seat. There's one here, one here, one here, and one here. So I can put these lean backs so they face forward and we're here in a group with the driver and the observer, or I can put the lean back on the other side, face towards the back and watch the rider in tow. I can leave that up to the passengers, myself, to determine how I want this seating arrangement set up, but you've got that flexibility with the slide seat in the Fi23. The standard tower on the Fi23 is the Battle Advanced Tower by Roswell. As you can see, it's a beautiful tower, and it can be color matched, as you can see here, to match the exterior of the boat. This particular color is called Olive Pewter Metal Flake. It's beautiful. It also matches the exterior of this particular Fi23. But I can choose between 37 different gel coat colors to put on the accent of this tower. But this tower doesn't just host beautiful lines, it hosts really cool options, some of which you can see here. So this is the Heor sound system by Wet Sounds. This system sounds amazing. It looks beautiful. It goes along with the shape of the tower. It also gives you the ability to tailor the sound that's going back to the rider, raise that noise level up or down, independent of the interior speakers. What that gives you is that flexibility so you're not blowing everybody out on the inside of the boat just to get sound back to your surfer. This system works awesome. I love it. It sounds great, and I can make it really loud. But another option that comes on this Battle Advance tower is these BombShell 2.0 racks. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. So we talked about the Battle Advance tower, how beautiful it is, but the options on this tower really finish it off. One of my favorite options is the BombShell 2.0. The BombShell 2.0 rack not only caresses and takes care of my surfboard, even as wide as a 23-inch board, but it is pretty to look at. And it's got all kinds of functionality, extra functionality, other than just taking care of my boards built into it. I've got hangers for ropes and life vests. I've also got this clamping action that really keeps the board secure, and all of this compression type padding that takes care of the board, and it doesn't put any kind of a singular pressure point to dent my board. I know we spend so much on those boards now. We want to make sure we take care of them. So the BombShell rack is extremely functional, but it's also beautiful, and this year it's customizable. What do I mean by that? This year you can not only choose between this black finish that you see here or the brushed aluminum finish that we had last year, you can choose between 6 other colors. So you can color match this rack to match your exterior gel coat on the boat. Yes, you heard me right. Imagine that, another level of customization from Centurion, a custom boat manufacturer. Who'd have thought? Now you noticed when I stepped inside the Fi23, I kind of ducked under this little beauty right here. Doesn't look like much now, but this thing folds out into the world's longest bimini. Hence the name of this optional bimini, SewLong. This SewLong Bimini extends from right about here, which is the edge of the lounge or the edge of the interior of this boat, and goes all the way up to the windshield. So this will cover everyone in the boat in an Fi23 in the shade. And it's extremely easy to put up and take down. I can do it in probably, well, if I'm on my game, 45 seconds, maybe 60. Well, I can do it pretty quickly, but it's real easy to do. So essentially the Bimini just folds out and locks into place, and then you've got your shade. It's as simple as that and as effective as that. So we've talked about the Fi23 interior being comfortable, beautiful, resilient, option-filled. Now we're going to talk about how it's concealing. What does it conceal, do you ask? Storage. So underneath every cushion in this lounge, there is places to put stuff out of the way. This is definitely a mom boat, because I can have 14 people and 14 people's stuff, but I can put all of that stuff away. So these particular seats are hinged and shocked. So I can open it with one hand, have a handful of stuff, throw it all in, and shut it back down, out of sight, out of mind. I don't have to worry about tripping over it or seeing it if it's something that is an eyesore. The other thing we have to kind of go with that versatile seating we talked about with the slide seat is this available stadium seating in the lounge. Both on this side, which is the port side or the passenger side, and on the driver's side, or sometimes called the starboard side, you've got these available lean backs. So I can put this up, I can have a nice rear view of the rider and be comfortable as all get out. So I know I always say it, but this is my favorite seat. Specifically the Cobra Racing seat, which is optional in the Fi23. This driver's seat is so comfortable. It kind of hugs your sides, but it still gives you the opportunity to spin around and throw a leg over. It swivels, it moves forward and back. It's extremely comfortable. It's also got a high back to it, so it gives me a lot of support. I love sitting up here, but not just because of the seat. I also love the dash area, specifically in the new Fi series. This is the Pano side-by-side touch vision dash. This dash is by Innovation, and this dash looks as extensive as it is. It houses just about every piece of information you need to know about the boat, as well as gives you control over it. These are both touch screens side by side. They're panoramic style screens so that they still don't obstruct your view to the water. You'll notice the brow of this dash is pretty low. I still have full visibility, but I can also see through the windshield in front of my bow. I don't have to stand up or look over the windshield in order to see the water in front of me. And I love that about this dash setup. I also love this steering wheel because it allows me to always have a good view of my screens. The steering wheel shape is perfect as it's very performance oriented, which fits right in with the FI series boat, but also it's got this unintrusive design to it that functions well. So I can have both hands on the wheel, I can still see all of my information and the water in front of me, and it looks amazing. It's got this stamped warrior in the center of it, and I don't know, it just feels great. I've also got these sport shifters on either side of the steering wheel. These are billet American-made sport shifters, and this is also an American-made steering wheel. But the sport shifters allow me to have control over my Stinger wake plate, which is in the back and changes the running attitude of my boat, or my cruise control set speed. So I can, with a couple fingers, pull these levers towards me to increase my Stinger wake plate or decrease my Stinger wake plate, which essentially, when I increase the wake plate, it puts my bow down into the water. When I decrease the wake plate, it lets my bow come back up and puts the transom of the boat deeper into the water. And if I want to increase my set speed, I do the same thing on the right-hand side. I can pull my sport shifter towards me with a couple fingers without having to take my eyes off the water. And if I want to slow down or change my set speed to a lower speed, I can do that as well. It's very simple and it's made to function well when you're underway. So the Pano side-by-side touch vision is really easy to navigate, and I'll show you just how. There's a 7-button navigation all the way on your right-hand side, and I'm on home right now, which is my home screen, and it gives me a lot of the data that I'm going to use more often than not, but it also tells me what my surf settings are for my QuickSurf tabs, what my center plate is set at, my ballast. It gives me all of that information on this home screen, as well as my RPM, my set speed, my fuel levels, you name it, you've got the information right here in front of you. But if I want to go to my QuickSurf screen, which also houses my quick launch, I can do that just with the press of the next button. I can go to the ballast screen the same way. I can get an overview of the boat and know exactly where each of the ballast areas are that I'm filling or draining. I can also go to trailer mode from this screen. I can control all of the interior and exterior lighting of the boat. I can go to my stereo controls, my mapping. Here I've got an optional Navionics, which is a mapping system which allows me not only to see where I am in the world, but also to see what are the contours of the lake below me. So I can always see if there's something that may be an obstruction or something that I should avoid. And that's if I have that optional mapping installed. I've also got all my settings, my user settings, my settings for GPS, which is standard in the Fi23. You've got anything and everything, as well as system info. If there happens to ever be a problem or an alarm for your engine or any other electrical system in the boat, it will tell you in that part of this Vision Touch. So what you've got here is easy control, lots of information. I also have another means of information right at my fingertips, and that is this wireless charging cell phone holder. So I can, with one hand, put my cell phone into this holder and it charges through my case. I can have access to my phone for Bluetooth stereo control, or just simply to be able to answer a text or a call if I need to. So we've established that the dash in the 2023 Centurion Fi23 is extremely functional, very user-friendly, but it's also beautiful. I have the opportunity to customize the look of this dash as well. I can customize the stitching color. I can customize the accent color on this vinyl. I can customize with my Gator step that matches the flooring in the boat. This dash will look as if I designed it because I did. So I know everyone is envious of the driver's seat, but the observer seat is pretty cool too. This seat is extremely wide and comfortable. It has access to storage, which is nice, easy access. Yeah, I've got a nice place to store my optional table if I choose to. But the observer also has access to things like charging ports, cup holders. I have a speaker right at my beck and call, and I can hear any of the tunes that I want to hear loud and clear. And I've got control over all of that. I also have access to the glove box, which has all kinds of charging ports in it, as well as lighting, and it's lockable. So I can secure my items in there as well. And it looks really cool. You've also got this Gator step piece here that helps you from not burning yourself on a really dark base color like this black, but it also looks really good and it matches the rest of your flooring. The observer also has a great color matched handle that Roswell's created for us with an inset accent that looks beautiful, and it is very sturdy. So if the driver decides to take a bat turn unexpectedly, the observer has somewhere to hold on. But the observer seat is just as comfortable, and honestly, you should be just as envious of the person that gets to sit there. One of the advantages of a walk-through open bow Fi23 from Centurion is I have a great place to put in an in-floor cooler right here between the observer seat and the driver's seat, right in front of the walk-through. Here I can have ice and drinks or ice and food directly in this enclosure. It has a drain in it that drains directly into the bilge, or I can insert a cooler that fits in that enclosure. Either way, or you could use it for dry storage. You could use it to store life vests, whatever works for you. The great part about it is I don't have to have somebody move to access whatever's in it. It's easy. So we talked about this being a walk-through open bow. It really is. Let me demonstrate. I can walk right through to the bow. And this particular bow is big. I can sit in this bow, legs all the way out in front of me, either facing forward or facing back like I am right now, and I'm comfortable. This bow also has the optional filler cushion in it. So if I take this cushion out, the bow kind of turns into a small lounge. You could have a couple people up here. They have cup holders of their own. They have charging ports for their phone. They have speakers. They have grab handles, anything and everything you could need. You also have access to your observer storage from the front, from the bow on this side. You also have access to a little bit of storage behind the dash. So you've got everything you need up in the bow. It's extremely comfortable. It's beautiful. And hey, it's an Fi23. The bow is what it's all about. Thanks for walking through the all-new Centurion Fi23 with me today. I hope you've seen just how fearlessly this particular model from Centurion has been innovated. There is nothing like it, but it is made to give you the world's best waves, wakes, and ride with all the benefits on the inside. But don't take my word for it. Go to your local Centurion dealer and test drive one today.